Okay, we're live. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode, I think it's 196. Yes, 196. And we're not going to talk like a pirate, but we are talking about Porch Pirates today. So this is the security podcast, and let's just go right into it because I think we could fill up a whole show and more just talking about people stealing things off your front porch. So first, let's say hi to Tom.
Hello, everyone.
So again, I'm Cohen. Now I live in a house. Tom, you do not live in a house.
I do not live in a house, but I have had issues with Porch Pirates before.
So if you don't know, this is a fairly new word and a fairly new problem where you have a package, it gets left there, and you come home and somebody says it's delivered and it's gone. And whether you know it's gone or you suspect it's gone or whatever else, it's now gone and you're sad. And the problem is, what do you do about it? So we figured we have 30 minutes. Let's talk about it because the holidays are upon us. It's already the fourth night of Hanukkah, but for the other people out there, you got to do something. So we have some suggestions.
So the first and really most obvious suggestion when it comes to Porch Pirates is you need some way of dissuading attackers and people looking to board your domicile and rob you of the treasure chests that you've dug up on various islands in your conquest. And the easiest way to do that is very large cannons, a large amount of gunpowder, and very heavy cannonballs. You see, no pirate is going to try to board and raid your porch if they have cannon fire coming at them. So just make sure, keep the cannons going at a consistent clip. I like if you have multiple cannons on your porch, you don't want to fire them all sequentially because then you're reloading all at the same time. Gives pirates a perfect chance to go and grab that box right off your porch. So you want to make sure to fire them in sequence and get kind of a fire reload thing going with each cannon in a row. Make sure to keep the pressure up. Don't give them a chance to drop their anchor and come on board.
So you said cannons. What I like better is a sign that says, "We think we cleared the landmines." That's what I want.
Yeah, that's also a good thing.
And when you're at the holiday dinners and you're talking about the Second Amendment, because that always pops up, you can say, "I want a landmine." And that bothers everybody because the anti-gun people will say, "Why do you need a landmine?" The pro-gun people will say, "Why do you need a landmine?" And I want to say, because I want to protect myself. It is literally its job to protect your property. So we get a sign that says, "We think we cleared all the landmines." Just saying think will do a lot.
It will. I know that if I were a porch pirate and I was trying to pilfer some packages, I would not step onto a property that had a warning landmine sign on it. So that said, I probably wouldn't get very many things delivered because I don't think the UPS or FedEx people are going to come onto my porch,
we're going
at the threat of landmines.
Machine learning to detect federal agents.
Okay.
Machine learning for the big three.
Machine learning for mail carriers? Yeah. I can get behind this. It's got a catchy ring. We can make a startup out of it. I'm totally for this.
We could secure it with blockchain.
We can use blockchain to secure our minefields.
All right, but in all honesty, I mean, this is a problem. So it's what people used to do. So I live in a house, you live in an apartment, and I suspect it's a little harder for you because they just leave it outside your door. So your porch pirates are your neighbors?
Sometimes they leave it outside my door. My apartment complex is actually one of the few newer ones who are actually getting package lockers on site. So occasionally a mail carrier will do the right thing and put it in a package locker. I'll get a text message and I'll go pick it up later. But sometimes they literally leave it outside the front door of the apartment building. They don't even bring it inside. They just lean it against the door and hope somebody gets it eventually. And I have had things go missing before.
So I get mad when they leave it right at the top of my stairs. So from the street, I have about 3 stairs and then a walkway and then another 3 stairs. And if it's left at the very top of that stair, you can see it from the street. If they just push it under the mailbox, it makes it harder. So that's our first tip. Try, if you can talk to your mail people that deliver the packages. Usually it's the same person. Try to tell them, hey, can you put it like, don't make your life more difficult, but can you like push it all the way or keep it out of view? Find out what that out of view is and tell them, hey, can you put this somewhere else? Can you try and shove it between the door? Can you mask it somehow? And usually they do it. Again, you want to make it so it doesn't look like you have a package. So if you can move it away so it's not this big box right at the top of your stairs, try and do that.
Yeah, working with your mail carrier is definitely the best first option. You know, especially if you've got like I know a lot of people, at least I've seen on the West Coast, have boxes where delivery drivers can actually put things in boxes and keep them outside of the rain. And a lot of people do that. So you know, most of the time the boxes outside people's front doors are empty, but sometimes they've got a package in them from any number of online retailers. Um, yeah.
So so I mean, the first thing that anyone will tell you is, you know what, make require signatures for everything. We should have started with this. The first thing people tell you is require signatures for everything. The problem is that unless your UPS person comes at 4 or 5 o'clock and you're home, having signatures is a complete waste of time. So now you have to make the decision of how important it is to you. So maybe you, if you know it's a high value item, you suck it up and you request it. Or as Tom has the lockers, if you have Amazon lockers there, or if you can do pickup from a store. I've been using Walmart pickup a lot because it's on my way home. You just pull up, you walk right in, they have it. So if you can buy it at Walmart and pick it up, that's good. But find a way, like you said, to not require a signature, but find a way to not have it delivered. If you need it delivered, then we have this problem. But asking
Yeah.
for signature verification is not the right answer.
Yeah, it's generally more trouble than it's worth to get a signature on things. I've actually missed deliveries several days in a row because somebody wanted me to sign for something at like 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Well, I'm still at work at 2 p.m. There's no way I can sign for it. For particularly like high dollar items, I know the last time I built my last gaming PC, right? I had, you know, over $1,000 worth of computer parts, and I didn't want that sitting outside my apartment. I lived in a fine place, but you know it's expensive. And I'm excited for my gaming PC. I don't want to have to go through the effort of getting my motherboard or graphics card replaced. So I just had it delivered to the office. Again, check with your mailroom or with the people handling packages in the office if that's okay to do. But in every place that I've worked, I've been able to get stuff delivered right to the office, and it's been great. We actually were able to build my PC after work in one of the spare conference rooms and test it out. It's a good time, a good team building moment.
So you're lucky you can deliver to your workplace. I have a much harder time with that. So there's another good first thing. Don't require signature, but see if you can either pick it up or deliver it to your workplace because somebody will sign for it if they come during business hours and you're generally there and everything else. But if that all doesn't work, I really like the very simple idea of getting a footlocker and putting it underneath your mailbox or just somewhere. And if you can put any notes, make it really easy for the mail carriers and just say, please put in Footlocker. And I think that
Yeah.
is the simplest idea.
If you wanted to make it now, this does rely on you only having one package by or one mail carrier coming during any particular day. But another option is to actually put an unlocked padlock, right? It doesn't have to be anything expensive or crazy, but an unlocked padlock inside the footlocker. On the note, you can say, hey, when you drop the package in, can you just click this lock on? Like either make it a combo lock or something you've got the key to. Then when you get home, your package is safe in your footlocker. The only downside to this, and it's not going to stop uh, a particularly piratey pirate, is if somebody walks off with your footlocker, which is a kind of a big problem for any of the like small safes you would keep important paperwork in. Thieves don't like to take giant safes. They don't like to haul those things out. But if they can just put it under their arm and walk out the front door, they'll do it.
So, I mean, that's what I've done the last few years. When around the holiday time, I would stick out, I'd put my footlocker there, and try to put a note, try to get the mail carriers and say, hey, can you put it here? The problem is that when you get a substitute or whatever it is, they want to be lazy and they don't want to do it. But for the most part, they've done it and it's worked out well. So I think that's the absolute cheapest way other than sending it to your job. Like just buy something, buy a big box, like get a refrigerator box. Just find something that makes it not look like a package. Get a plant and say, you know what, put it behind the plant. Just you want to hide it. But again, you don't want to make the person have to find the side door, put this gate code in, whatever else, because they will not do it. So,
Yeah. So we should probably talk about now that we've talked about some mitigation strategies. Let's talk about what you can do to either track if you've been pirated and gather some evidence in case of package porch piracy.
so I have these things that we're about to say, and I like that. So the first thing would be some sort of Wi-Fi doorbell. I think the Wi-Fi doorbell is the best scenario for this, and we know that we don't like to talk a lot about IoT on here because they have problems. But if you stick to the big names, the ones that you've heard about, any sort of Wi-Fi doorbell that connects to the Wi-Fi, and we can talk about how to segment the Wi-Fi and everything else. But the ones that you know are going to be updated, I have one, and I really do like it. It works. You can see when the person comes. You can talk to them, but you can see when the person comes. So you know when they come, and then you can either run home or get a neighbor to get it or something else.
And in the absolute worst case, let's say somebody steals a package off of your front porch. If you do have one of these, camera-enabled Wi-Fi doorbells from a big name company, don't go cheap on the Wi-Fi doorbells. Get something well known and that's got a lot of good reviews. There's I know at the very least 2 big companies that are putting these out right now. But you can definitely catch those thieves on camera. I've actually seen several videos posted online on various image sharing websites where somebody goes to steal a package and they fall over and I don't know if they break a hip or whatever, but some of these videos are fairly humorous, discounting the fact that somebody just got something stolen. But now you have video evidence, you have the person on camera, you can give it to your local police station, and you can prove to whatever online retailer or mail carrier that the package was indeed stolen, right? Yes, it was delivered, it was sitting here, and now you have a video of someone you have no idea who they are stealing your packages. In the best case, you do know who the pirate is. So,
and the good thing is that by having this, you can go to the police and wait. Well, it may not be concrete, like you can't see the person clearly. You'll have some grainy photo. You can at least show that it was taken to, because all these shipping companies have insurance for this reason. So you can say, hey, look, we did our due diligence. We got it stolen, but we went to the police. We have video evidence. This is who it is. It helps the police. And for the most part, you'll probably get it shipped in another few days. But again, it's just the hassle of it. But at least you have evidence.
And if you're the type of person, I know we try to avoid politics on this show, but in America, healthcare tends to be extremely expensive, even extremely expensive out of pocket to people who really need it. But a lot of these specialty pharmacies will send thousands of dollars worth of medication every month to a person's house. Well, if that package gets stolen, it's a lot harder to replace than a pack of toothpaste that you bought online, for instance. I have heard of instances where insurance companies are requiring video evidence in order to pony up the cash to send another, couple $1,000s worth of medication because they weren't sure if it actually got stolen or not. When we're talking about extremely high ticket items, video evidence is going to be your best friend. And especially if you use a mail order pharmacy with expensive medications, it's probably worth the investment to get one of these video doorbells or another, home security system that you can review after the fact.
So the big name, and we won't tell you which that is, but the big name for $100 is perfectly adequate. For $100, you install it. If you don't have a hardwired doorbell, I recommend getting a hardwired doorbell. Pay the electrician, whatever it takes to get a hardwired doorbell, because the battery is good. It's just not that good. So spend the extra money, but the $100 doorbell from the huge big company is basically the right one. Don't get some no name for $75. It's not worth it.
Yeah, especially in the instance when you're trying to protect or ensure very high ticket packages. You don't want to mess with a solution that's anything less than the best, than anything that's less tested, right? Don't cheap out when it comes to your security systems. Don't cheap out when it comes to getting video evidence of theft. In this case, we do like to opt for open source, build it yourself, hack together super cheap solutions here. But in this case, pony up the cash. It's going to be worth it.
The So let's say you don't want to do doorbells, which I think is at the bare minimum. I really think that's the answer. I really it's the simplest solution. Even if, like I said, if it's not hardwired, you have the battery. It's apartment friendly. It works. People are starting to see it. It doesn't violate too much privacy because it only really activates if you're walking in front of it and all this other stuff. But if you don't want to do that, the next thing we talk about is the camera system. And I know that in my town, people have been saying, "Oh, we've had this problem. We have a lot of renters in our town, and so people don't know their neighbors. So you probably can just walk by and take something." And people have been asking me, "What camera system do you have?" And I have a bunch. So the big name so I look for a camera that's both completely wireless, battery powered and completely wireless, because you want to be able to stick it anywhere you want, and you don't want to have to pay somebody. You don't want any wires, even if it's for power. You don't want to have to pay a lot. You want to be able to move it. And so what? You have to change the battery. So both of the big names that you hear about are perfectly acceptable. They have apps. You can share it with your spouse. They record. Free recording is another big one. You want the free recording. And from there, you can see who's going to your doorbell. Some of them talk back to you, but again, if you have your doorbell, you don't need to worry about that. And the speakers are not so good to begin with. So from there, some sort of completely wireless camera system is your next best friend.
Yeah, I actually there are several stories of these cameras tracking, perfect people with perfectly legitimate access to a residence. But tracking a contractor or a gardener or landscaper walking off with tools. Most of the time, just completely absentmindedly, like, oh, hey, I'm just gonna throw these in the back of my truck because I'm done with my job. It's just an average day. And next thing you know, your drill or your ladder is missing. You're like, hold on a minute. And yeah, chances are somebody just absentmindedly threw it somewhere and drove off with it. But sometimes it could actually be theft. And these cameras can help you, determine what happened to your giant ladder.
If you live in a town where the dogs like to go on your lawn, this also sort of helps. Again, the landmine is better, but
it is. Now, there are additional legal and jurisdiction things you have to do with a landmine that fall outside of the scope of this show.
yes.
But if you would like to discuss landmine legal policy in America, you can join our WhatsApp group, and we'll be happy to talk your ear off about how landmines are protecting our homes.
So the other problem with cameras, and we were joking about this, but the privacy aspect. If you're in an apartment, you can't put a camera facing somebody else's window. People are going to have a problem with that. However, I have one facing all three of my doors, the front, side, and back door. And I have one in my garage, and I have one just overlooking the side of the house, so I can see the bird's eye view. So I can see when the people are coming. I can see a lot of it, and I can, again, if something happens, I have the cloud recordings. I could send it. So those are my recommendations for the big things. I think I'll put in the show notes the cheaper one and the more expensive one, and you can make up your mind. Really, the best thing is to pay a surveillance company to come in and install. I mean, they have camera installers. You go to your local big box store, you pick up the 8 camera system, whatever it is, and you pay someone to install it. But that requires some money. And I don't think you need that, because the goal is to stop the people from stealing your stuff.
Yeah, I'd recommend against going to your cable company or ISP and getting whatever security bundle they're offering at the moment. They tend to be extremely expensive. They come with very long-term contracts, usually 2+ years. And the tech you get out of it is usually really poorly supported and poorly monitored. So I'd stay away from that. But if you go to a big box store, pick up like a video DVR and a set of cameras, you can definitely pay someone to install those, and that would be just fine. I just avoid getting into any long-term contracts with a company that's not in the business of security, right? Because I know lots and lots of area ISPs that I'm around have been trying to get into this home security system business because it is very lucrative. They make a lot of money off of people, and it's not easy to get out of those contracts.
So a few years ago, I was talking to my wife, and I said, I want to do something for the windows, get the window systems motion sensors. So I found the company that was going on, and we did it. And it's like, do we really want a security system? And we both looked at each other and said, we don't think that they work. So robber comes, opens your door, breaks in, waits the 45 seconds. Now the alarm's going off. The police are called. They're probably gone before you can catch them, unless they're really stupid. And if they're really stupid, they'll probably get caught some other way. So now your stuff's gone. The police are there. Now what? I mean, the police. You figured out a few minutes later that your house was robbed. I don't see a net benefit to that. What I do see is negative. A lot of towns now are charging for false alarms. And what I found out is that these door sensors have a limited battery life. And when the battery dies, they trip this alarm all the time. So if you don't set it up, you can be away. The alarm goes off. It's a false alarm. And now you're on the hook for $50, $100 from the police department. And I don't think that the local ISP security people are going to care. And they're going to say, well, that was on you for not changing the battery or whatever else. I much rather have a system where the window breaks, trips, it sends me a push notification, and I can determine whether I want to turn the alarm on or not.
Yeah, so we have talked about these security systems in the past, and they are slowly changing for the better. It used to be that when these systems would disconnect from their mothership or their hub, what they would do is they just turn off silently. So you could actually wirelessly jam a lot of these sensors. They would lose contact, and somebody could absolutely open a window or door with no repercussions or the alarm going off. Now, a lot of the better security systems out there, when it loses contact with a pre-programmed sensor, it will actually fire an alarm. So that's better for security. It's worse for false positives. Everything is going to be a trade-off in these systems.
And I have cameras. I told you I have the doorbells. And all of these things, unfortunately, the problem is, unless you have professional security people do this and you're paying a significant amount of money, they're monitoring systems. They're monitoring what's going on. So people say, will this catch the thief? Probably not. Will it stop them from robbing your house? Probably not. Everything we told you, if somebody wants whatever is on your doorstep and they take it, you're just hoping that the police will care enough to do something about it. Because you need the video evidence. It has to be clear enough. And trust me, there's never going to be a perfect solution for everything. So the more important thing is to try to, like we said, mitigate the problem, hiding packages, making sure lights are on at night, showing presence around your house, keeping your property free of debris, all the stuff that we've talked about before. You want to make sure that you're on top of there. So somebody says, maybe this is not the house to take the package from. But I don't have anything else on there. So
let's talk about mitigation. So let's say you have no video evidence. You have had a package stolen. You think you've had a package stolen, right? It's not there. It said it was delivered. It's not there. The first call you should make is the first thing you should do is check check the tracking, right? Check the tracking online. Oh, look, it looks like it was delivered. Some carriers will actually take a photo of the package. And if it doesn't look like your front porch, chances are they just delivered it to the wrong place. Um, it happens a lot, unfortunately. So your first call should probably be to whatever mail carrier that package was sent from. Right? You've got the tracking number. You know who carried it. You can give their customer service a call and try to figure out what happened. I know a ton of people who have had packages delivered, to the wrong apartment number, to the wrong apartment building, sometimes a couple streets away. And their package will show up, a few days later when a neighbor says, they look at the front, they're like, oh, wait, this isn't for me. Maybe they're a nice neighbor and they just drive it over to your place. So that happens a lot, right? Don't assume the worst. Sometimes it just got lost. But call the mail carrier. If they absolutely did deliver it, they swear up and down it was there, then your next call should probably be to the company that you ordered it from, and explain the situation, right? Either it was misdelivered or it got stolen, or there's 100 different explanations on why a package would get lost in transit. Most of the time, especially for small dollar items, the company is just going to eat the cost and say, well, these things happen. We'll ship you out another one. It'll be there in a couple days, right? It's really annoying, right? I've totally had it happen to me, and it's super annoying, especially if it's like a game that just came out that you're super excited to play. I don't know if you've been there, but I have. And getting it a couple days later is really lame. But it can be fixed, and you probably shouldn't worry about it. If it is a bigger ticket item, you might have a bigger issue on your hands with customer service. You might have to conference in the mail carrier, but be assured that it can be fixed.
They may want video evidence. They may require a police report. They may require a whole bunch of stuff. So having more of this is better. You absolutely do not want to be in a position where no one wants to deliver to your house unless you have a signature. That has happened where somebody said they called UPS and UPS said you lost it. Okay, you get like 1 or 2 free tries. And then from there on, we need signature confirmation on everything. And you don't want to be in that position. The other thing you can do is talk to your neighbors, not after it gets stolen, but learn your neighbors. If you're going out, find someone to trust, like a dog walker who walks by every day or whatever it is. And hey, if you see a package, can you do me a favor and either grab it for me or do whatever? So at least if you're going to be away all day and you're not going to be home till tomorrow morning or really late at night, at least somebody can grab it for you and keep it safe.
I've when waiting for $1,000 phones, which apparently is a thing now, I've absolutely left a note on my door that says, I'm not going to be home. Can you leave this with the next door neighbor? Because I know they'll be home, and I ask them to take the package for me. And a lot of the time, the whatever mail carrier is delivering the package will say, yeah, sure. So they'll knock on the other door, hand it to the other person, and you're done.
I'm surprised that works.
It doesn't work every time, but I've had it work most of the time. But that could just be my mail carrier, right? It's going to depend on the situation. But
like if I'm a mail carrier, I don't know if I would do that.
Yeah, it's definitely a risky take. Now, I have left those notes and then come back to the sticky note on my door. Sorry, we missed you, which is super annoying. But going to the post office or the UPS store or to FedEx is an option. And if this problem gets bad enough, and if you're willing to, obviously shell out money to fix it, but you don't really want to put cameras everywhere, get a PO box, right? The UPS store offers them. I know some FedEx locations offer them. USPS, you can just go to your post office and get a PO box, and you can get all your stuff delivered to a secured location. And just go pick it up later. It absolutely works.
And if it's still really happening, see, I don't like spending money like that. Again, I would organize the neighbors. I'm assuming it's not one of your neighbors, at least in suburbia, and say, look, can we start you don't have to be friends with them, but at least say hi to them when they're gardening, walking their dog. And if you see something, say something, because we have that. We have our group where anybody who's not there, they see something, they say something. But the problem is it's literally everybody. Like I don't know where this white car came from. And they call the police, and the police come and check it out, and they're like, yeah, it's okay. But people still complain. I don't know why this white car is parking in my spot. But again, you see something, you say something. Just learning your neighbors, making it a tight knit community will also make these crimes of innocence or whatever they're called, nuisance
Crimes of
crimes,
convenience.
yeah, go down much better. And again, you're not going to stop somebody who's just going to follow the UPS truck and just steal everything.
Yeah.
So, with that said, I don't have. Look, it's. I live in an area that it's not a big deal. I didn't realize in the suburbia, in the apartments areas, the lockers are becoming a really big thing. I wish
I
that.
gotta say, I love my locker. So I used to have to go to the leasing office and pick up my package if I didn't get home in time. My packages are locked away in some back room somewhere that I can't get to them. Super annoying, by the way, when you're waiting for like a new hard drive because your computer blew up. But package lockers, day, night, it doesn't matter. I punch in the code, the door flies open, I get my stuff. So I have to say, I'm a huge fan of package lockers. They're just great.
I wonder if they can be not store specific, but carrier specific. Like this is the UPS package locker.
Yeah. So the ones outside of my apartment, are actually an independent company that works with all carriers, all stores, all packages. So theoretically, doesn't happen all the time, but theoretically, no matter who carries my package, they can drop it off inside the locker.
And if they don't, they either go to your door, or do they just leave it in the vestibule?
Usually if they can get in the building, because sometimes they just don't come in the building. If they can get in the building, they usually just leave it somewhere in the building's lobby, which has been fun for hide and seek at times. But other times they will just lean it against the public facing door, which is not really the best option.
See, it doesn't happen that much here because of exactly that. If for someone to do it, they have to see it from the street. They have to make sure no one's looking and everything else. But look, I'm hoping that this Porch Pirate situation, I don't think it's getting better this year. I don't think it's going to get better next year. But I think in a few years, I'm hoping that we start looking for a solution where everyone either has some sort of video doorbell or more lockers or something like that.
Yeah, and maybe the thieves will just get tired of stealing my fuzzy pajama pants. Like maybe after the fifth pair, they're just like, yeah, I think I've got enough of these. I don't need to get any more. Why keep buying fuzzy pajama pants? That's an exercise for you, listener.
So anyway, we're over. So we're gonna stop here, and we'll probably see you next week because we have a lot to talk about. So
Indeed.
we will talk to you next week.
See you, everyone.
Bye.